Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the Athletics franchise here on MLB The Show 24, and today we have an action-packed episode starting off with the debut of one of our top prospects. Daniel Susac will be making his Athletics debut today in the majors. I hope you're excited for that one. A lot more to go this episode. Trade deadline, returns from injuries. We got a lot you don't want to miss out on. So make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. As we'll start off in Baltimore with Kyle Bradish on the mound for the O's. And he will start off against Gio Urshela, who will ground out to begin this day. And we'll take a look at the A's lineup in this one. Not sure how much it'll be like this with the trade deadline approaching, but next up we'll see Robbie Martin returning to the lineup, followed by Tyler Soderstrom, Ryan Noda, Adam Frazier in left, Brent Rooker at center, Zach Gallen second base, Logan Davidson at short, and of course, making his debut behind the plate, Daniel Susac. Here is Robbie Martin the first time he's stepping onto the field since returning from his injury that costed him 2 months of Major League time, and he begins by grounding out to third base. 2 down now for Tyler Soderstrom. We'll swing and miss on a slider. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Bradish. On the mound for the A's will be Jose Butto, who ironically enough was our big acquisition at last year's trade deadline and hasn't really worked out for him since joining the club. We've had a lot of command issues. Control has been a huge problem for him. Hopefully he can start to change that. The 2022 number 1 overall pick, Jackson Holliday, will begin the day for the Orioles, and he will single into right field. Actually, Soderstrom takes a tumble, and Holliday will turn this into a double. So leadoff double for the Orioles. Not a good start for Butto, who desperately needs a good one today. He then gets Nick Gordon, though, to swing through the 12-6 for out number 1. Ryan Mountcastle then steps up to the plate, and he looks at strike 3. High inside fastball gets him. So that's 2 down now for Austin Hayes, who the first pitch will rip this one into right field in front of Soderstrom. Holliday will be waved home, and that is going to be an RBI single for the Orioles. They get on the bird first early. Colton Cowser up next. He swings through a curveball, but the O's get their 1 in the first. We'll go top 3. Here's the first at-bat for Daniel Susac. 1 down, 1-0 pitch, and he singles through the right side of the infield, and he's batting 1,000. Daniel Susac with his first major league base hit, a ball that he is going to want to save. Hopefully, more to come here for the Athletics. Fortunately, it's now 2 down for Martin, and he will swing and miss. So nothing comes of the single, but still a good accomplishment nonetheless. We'll go bottom 3, Holliday back up at the plate for the Orioles. Now he's trying to bunt for a base hit, and he will do just that. They can't get to it. Leadoff single. Gordon now up next, 1-0, pitch in the dirt. Susac can't block it, and Holliday will take second with ease. On was a wild pitch. So now a runner in scoring position. Later in the at-bat, full count. It doesn't matter off the wild pitch because Nick Gordon will draw a walk. As Butto walks his second of the day. That'll bring up Ryan Mountcastle, who struck out back in the first. 1-2 pitch to him, and this is another pitch that's in the dirt. Susac blocks it, but Holliday will take third. So now runners in scoring position, 2 of them, off the second wild pitch of the inning from Butto. Later on this at-bat, Mountcastle will rip this one over to third. Urshela has it, but because of the wild pitch, a run will score. And it's now 2-0 Orioles. 1 down now for Hayes. Pitch in the dirt. He swings through it. This time Susac will block it. That's now 2 down. How about Colton Cowser up next? 0 for 1. We saw him strike out to end the first. 2-2 here, and he'll strike out to end the third. But another run that crosses the plate. Now, unfortunately, Butto will only go 4 innings. His stamina continues to kind of be a problem for this team. So Mason Miller will then come in relief in the 4th inning, trying to keep it a 2-run game, but he will not. The first batter he faces, Sam Basallo, will crush one to right field and out of here. The rookie 20-year-old from the Dominican Republic with his 2nd career home run. He's behind the plate today, and he gives the Orioles another one as he will step on home plate. And Baltimore now leads 3-0 off of the solo shot. 2 down now for Jordan Nwogu, who will ground out to first. That'll end the inning. But again, the Orioles tack on another, just continue to build this lead. As we go top 5, Brent Rooker leading off for the A's. And he'll hit this one high and deep to right off of the scoreboard. That's a leadoff double for the Athletics as they try to chip into this Orioles lead a little bit. Next up is Geloff, 1-2, and he will look at strike 3. Call I don't think should have been called. That strike is, that's the 5th K of the day, and that'll bring up Logan Davidson. Flew out back in the third. The former Clemson Tiger will then single this one through the left side of the infield. A's are going to get aggressive. They're going to send Rooker home. It's going to be close, but he's going to be in time. An RBI single for Davidson. They cut into the lead now 3-1. Still only one out for Susac. His second career at bats will be a double play that ends the 5th inning. Chris Martin will then come in relief in the 5th for the A's, former Red Sox. Not sure how much we'll see of him in the following months of the season in A's uniform because he's a hot trade deadline guy that the A's are wanting to ship. After walking the first batter, he strikes out Gordon, 1 down now. Ryan Mountcastle 0-1 will hit this one into left center, and that's going to get down, and that's going to be some trouble. Rooker's going to cut it off, but Holliday's got some speed. He's down to third. So runners on the corners. The Orioles trying to get the run right back. Unfortunately, that'll do it for Martin. He was already tired coming into this one, so we're going to bring in the former Oriole, Craig Kimbrell, who steps up. Like Martin, a guy who could be traded in the coming days. He gets Hayes to pop up his first batter into center field. However, that should be deep enough. Holliday will be sent, and the throw, a good one. The 9 in time are online. It's now 4-1, Orioles. Calcer then draws a walk, so he'll get on first base. Inning extends. Samuel Basallo, who homered in his last at-bat, will K here, but the Orioles get that one back. It's 4-1. Joe Barlow then gets into the action here for the A's, our Rule 5 pickup in the offseason. He's been arguably our best relief pitcher, and he starts by striking out Connor Norby. How about John Rhodes up next? 0-1. High into left field, but gets underneath it. Adam Frazier is there. That's the second out of the 6th. Jordan Nwogu up next. 1-2. Swing and miss, and a nice inning from Barlow. Goes down 1-2-3. Dylan Tate will come in the 8th inning for the Orioles as the A's offense has kind of been shut down for the most part today. Tate not having a good season, but he's going to be tasked with getting the setup role here. And Davison, his first batter, will rip this one off of the wall. So not a good start. It's a leadoff double for Davidson, who's having a pretty nice day. He slides in with his 12th double of the season. Susac up next, 1-for-2. He's going to strike out. They say he went around on the slider. Couldn't pull the trigger. Back to the top of the lineup. Gio Urshela rips it over to first, but a nice play over there by Mountcastle. He gloves it. 2 down now for Martin, who will then hit it right over to Mountcastle again. And the A's get nothing here in the 8th inning. Go bottom 8, Zach Jackson in relief for the Athletics, making his 49th appearance of what's been a disappointing 2025 season for him. His first batter, Colton Calcer, will hit this one over to second. Easy play for Geloff, 1 down. Back to Basallo, 1 to him. He bloops this one into right field. Soderstrom will not get to it, so that's going to land for a base hit. Second hit of the day for the rookie. Brings up a fellow rookie in Connor Norby. He hits this one into center field, and the 24-year-old from East Carolina University will fly out for the second out of the 8th. This is a young Orioles team on the back end, including this next batter, John Rhodes. With 2 down, over to second. Geloff will glove it. He'll go the short distance. So we're going to have a 3-run deficit going into the 9th, but that means it's closing time for the 2023 AL Reliever of the Year, Felix Bautista. Tasked with getting his 24th save. Only blown 1 all season. He starts off with a 3-4-5 hitters and strikes out Soderstrom on a 102 heater. Almost untouchable when he locates it there. Noda then can't pull the trigger. He gets fooled on the off-speed stuff, so the game is down to Adam Frazier, 2-0 to him. Grounder over to short. This could do it, and it will. Nice play by Holliday, and the Orioles take game 1 of this 3-game set in Baltimore. I have a final score of a 4-1. Just couldn't get it done offensively. Orioles shut us down for the most part. Pitching, Butto just didn't start very good, and we just kind of gave up these 1 runs here and there, and it just proved to be enough for the Orioles. Bradish gets the win, Butto gets the loss, and Bautista gets his 24th save of the season. Player of the game will go to Kyle Bradish. He went 7 strong, giving up 4 hits, 5 Ks. A good performance by the ace of this Orioles staff. As we get closer and closer to the trade deadline, we then lose game 2, 10-5. So it's been not a good start to the post-All-Star break part of the season for the A's. Just another blowouts at the hands of the Orioles. We then lose game 3, 5-2. So we get swept. We've only won 2 games since the All-Star break. Miley gives up a few. Same with Santillan. And Austin Hayes was the lead hitter for the Orioles. So that takes us to the trade deadline, one of the most interesting days in baseball. Now, it's already started off interesting. Yesterday, there was a lot of big moves around the league. You can see them all here. We'll highlight them. Starting off with the Cleveland Guardians adding William Contreras from the Milwaukee Brewers. A big pickup for Cleveland, who looks to strengthen their offense. He's had a pretty down season in Milwaukee, but still a good bat to add. They give up prospect Alex Clemmy, a 19-year-old from Massachusetts at 6'6", as well as Brian Rocchio, who hasn't worked out in Cleveland. He'll get a fresh start in Milwaukee, so I think that's a pretty solid trade for both clubs. AJ Minter then goes for the Braves for a prospect, so he reunites in Atlanta after spending half a season in Chicago. But the Cubs were not done after this trade. They trade former MVP Cody Bellinger to the Cincinnati Reds, the biggest trade arguably so far of the season, as he is traded in division. The Cubs, though, get a nice haul. They get one of the best young players in baseball, Noelvi Marte, who is continuing to improve and has a very bright future ahead of him at only 23. And they get Connor Phillips, a 23-year-old pitcher from Cincinnati, who has not really started in the majors except for 5 games. Interesting trade for both squads. He's also the 92nd best prospect in all of baseball. So that brings us to our situation. We now sit 46-64. We were hanging in there for a minute, but we're 13 games out, and I think it makes sense for us to sell at the deadline. No need to really make any splash acquisitions. Continue to build this farm system. Continue to build this young team. Here are the 4 players we have on the block: Chris Martin, Craig Kimbrell, Gio Urshela, and John Brebbia. We will trade 3 of them in this episode, and if you notice, there's a player or a team who's interested in 3 of them. Chris Martin, Craig Kimbrell, and Gio Urshela are all being targeted by the Philadelphia Phillies. They want to add some relievers. Martin's been a pretty decent reliever. Kimbrell's been a little bit disappointing, but they do have a lot of veteran leadership, especially for a team who could push for the postseason. On top of that, they're also interested in Gio Urshela. He's been one of our best offensive bats this season. I'd hate to see him go, but I think we need to capitalize while we sit on a high ceiling for him. So we're going to trade them, all 3 of them, to Philadelphia, and the player they're offering is Mick Abel, an interesting 23-year-old starting pitcher from Oregon, 6'5", 190. He's been pitching pretty average in the majors in his rookie campaign, but he's still young. He's got a high ceiling, and I think this is the perfect move we need to make. We need to improve this pitching staff, so why not add some young depth into it? So we make the deal. We acquire Mick Abel from the Philadelphia Phillies in exchange for relievers Chris Martin, Craig Kimbrell, and third baseman Gio Urshela. It's our big move of the deadline. It's the only move we're going to make at the deadline. Brebbia, nobody really had an interest in him. But we lose 3 of our veterans, but we gain a nice young pitcher. Now we go around the league. There was a lot more trades this year at the deadline. Starting off with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're selling at the deadline, and they're giving up a couple of pretty interesting players. Liover Peguero gets shipped to the Dodgers. He's going to be their shortstop. I know the Pittsburgh Pirates didn't need Liover Peguero with O'Neal Cruz, but I feel like they could have got a little bit more from him. They get 21-year-old third base prospect Logan Wagner, and then starting pitching prospect Kendall Williams. That was the only move that the Pirates made. They traded Marco Gonzalez to the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia not done adding arms this trade deadline. This isn't even their last trade. In exchange for left fielder Trevor Schwenke, who's got 2 games of Major League experience, as well as Rafael Marchand, who I think is the more interesting guy in this deal. So other than that, we got a few more to make. Now, the top guy at the top of the block was Corbin Carroll, which is very interesting, but I just don't think the Diamondbacks would be willing to trade him at this point. He's signed long-term, and they're in the playoff hunt. One guy who I do think will be traded, though, is John Means of the Baltimore Orioles. It has not been a good year for the O's, and Means' stock is at an all-time high. He's coming off of an all-star season where he's at a 2.74 ERA, and he's going to go to the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Orioles will cash in. They'll send John Means, another strong arm, to the Phillies rotation as they look to take down the defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves. And in return, the Orioles are going to get Tyler Phillips, a nice starting pitching prospect who's a little older at 27, and 20-year-old T.J. Walton. So I think the Orioles get a pretty nice return here for John Means. Another player on the move is going to be Brendan Donovan of the Cincinnati Reds. This is kind of a 1-for-1 because the Padres are interested in Donovan and the Reds are interested in Gary Sanchez. So that'll be the 1-for-1 trade. The Brendan Donovan is now in San Diego, while on the flip side, the Padres will trade Gary Sanchez to the Cincinnati Reds. I do think San Diego made a little bit better here, but, the The Reds don't necessarily need a catcher of the future with Tyler Stevenson, but pushing for the playoffs, they could use one now. Another catcher on the move is Francisco Mejia, who's had an up-and-down season in Cleveland, who's currently in AAA, and Atlanta is going to take advantage. They want to add him to the Major League bat, especially with some injuries at the catcher position. So Mejia will be traded to the Braves in exchange for Bryce Elder, trying to beef up a little bit for Cleveland on the pitching side of things. It's been a rough season for him, but Elder is still a nice arm with some major league experience. So that'll do it for the deadline moves. We now have 2 roster spots, so we're going to call up Miguel Andujar and Seth Brown to the major league level to fill out those spots. And here's a look now at our lineup post trade deadline. Also, let me know in the comment section below what you think of the trades. I try not to make super just forced moves, but I only tried to also trade off the trade block. So I tried to make moves that made sense. So let me know in the comments section what you guys thought. I also picked up a couple of other guys from the trade block to see what their market was like, and they didn't really have one that made sense to me, so they were not on the move. Here's a look at our pitchers as well. We do move Freeland to the bullpen with the acquisition of McAble, and we'll see how that works. So that'll take us also to our last player we have not signed. It's also deadline day to sign draft picks, and the last guy who have not signed a contract is Rene Ortega, and we increase his bonus demand by $200,000, and he does not accept. So Rene Ortega, our second-round pick, will not be with the Athletics next season. That's kind of a bummer, but we just couldn't agree to a deal. Second half of the episode, we're playing the 52 and 56 New York Mets, while we are currently 2-10 post All-Star break, trying to turn it around here at home at Sacramento. As we'll take a look at our next matchup, you can take a look at the drone cam on the mound today for the Athletics will be our ace, trying to turn around Paul Blackburn. He's been pretty solid this season. It's been a rough month of July for him, though. His ERA is up to 3.63. And he was another guy who was a potential trade target at the deadline, but we decided to hold on to him. Leading off for the Mets will be Lindor, who draws a walk on 4 pitches to begin the day. So he's on first now for Jeff McNeil, who's going to hit this one high and deep into right field. However, not deep enough, as Soderstrom will be underneath it. And we'll take a look at this New York Mets lineup. We've already seen Lindor and McNeil. Next up, we'll see the left fielder Brandon Nello, followed by Pete Alonso at first, Francisco Alvarez at catcher, Ronnie Mauricio at second base, Brandon Belt the DH, Hunter Renfroe with 205 career home runs in right field, and in center will be Tyrone Taylor. So here is Nemo up next. First pitch to him, and he's going to lace this one into left center field, and this one will not be got to. It's going to get down, actually split the outfielders. Rooker will cut it off, but that's going to be an RBI triple for the All-Star Brandon Nemo, and the Mets already on the board 1-0. His 4th triple of the season. Next up is Pete Alonso, and he's going to drive that run right in. A quick 2 to begin the day here for the Mets. They extend their lead. Still only 1 down. Alvarez will ground it over to Wilson. Try to turn a double play to end the inning, but he throws it off the bag. That's an E5 that costs us the inning. So both runners are now safe. Only 1 down as Ronnie Mauricio will step in, hitting .265 on the season, and he's going to increase that here. He's also going to drive in another run that will cross home plate, and they will actually send to second as well, and the throw is not in time. A 2 RBI double for Mauricio. He collects 36 and 37 on the season, and the Mets instantly make us pay for the error. Is this now 4-0? Luckily for us, Brandon Belt will pop up into foul territory for out number 2, and then Renfroe up next will chop this one over to short. Davison will charge, and he will make the play out for a 4 spot in the top of the first, which is a nice cushion for Adrian Hauser, who's really struggled this season, but he gets a 4-run lead without even have to throw 1 pitch. Zach Geloff back into the leadoff role with Urshela now in Philadelphia, and he'll swing wildly at the high fastball for out number 1. Then we got Robbie Martin up next, 0-1 pitch, and he's going to get jammed inside over to second base. And that'll be the second out of the frame. We'll take a look at this Athletics lineup. Remember, no Urshela now, so it's Geloff, Martin, Soderstrom in right, Noda at first, Brett Rooker in center, Adam Frazier in left. Jacob Wilson now going to be the starting third baseman for the foreseeable future, hitting .300 in his rookie campaign, followed by Logan Davison and Shea Langoliers. Soderstrom up next will rip this one into left field. That is gone. A Soder pop here to begin the first for us. Nice shout out to Roar in the comments for coining that one. as our All-Star gets our first run, his career-high 21st home run of the season. He has been the probably brightest spot of this team so far this year. It's just seeing his development. That brings up Noda up next. We'll chop this one over to first. It will be fielded, and that will end the first. But we do at least get one. Go top 3, 1 down, and Francisco Alvarez, well, he's going to get that run right back. Deep to left center and out of here. That went way over the fence. As it is gone for a solo home run. That one travels 454 feet, 19th home run of the season for Alvarez. It wasn't even a bad pitch. He just straight ripped that one up and out of here. So Mets now lead 5-1. Into the 4th inning now, 2 down for Jeff McNeil, and he's going to rip this one to right, and that will one hop over the wall. So a ground rule double in the 4th. And then Nimmo up next wants to crank one. Deep right center field. This one is going to get out of here up on the hill. A 2-run homer for Brandon Nimmo, the first-time All-Star this season. As the Mets have really opened this game up, it has been a horrible start for Paul Blackburn. 18th of the season for Nimmo makes it 7-1 now in favor of the Mets in the 4th inning. How about top 5? Brandon Belt begins, and he belts this one out of here. The home runs continue. Way over the hill in right field and gone for Brandon Belt, who did not play at all last season, has come back to the majors, and he's looked pretty solid for the Mets. His 12th home run of the season. Blackburn continues to get slaughtered here in this one. He would be pulled out of the game shortly after. Joe Barlow in relief, as it's now a 7-run deficit already for the Athletics. He's got 2 down now for Lindor, and, well, that's going to be a pitch in the dirt, so he'll take first base. Not a good start for Barlow's day. Next will be Jeff McNeil. He grounds over to short. Davidson with a tough play, but he throws it into the outfield and right, and that's going to score another run. That's the 3rd time today we committed that same error. Nobody can throw the ball to second base on this team. This is embarrassing. 9-1 now. Inning stays alive. Nimmo draws a walk. Barlow cannot get even one out. Pete Alonso up next will then strike out to finally end the 5th. But it's now 9-1 Mets. We're going to bring in Zach Jackson into the next inning to try to stabilize. And he will start by walking Francisco Alvarez. So again, another free base runner for the Mets. And I'll bring up Ronnie Mauricio. Hits this one high and deep to left center. And that will be the first out as Frazier will make the play. Trying to have a 0 spot as Brandon Belt up next. And he's going to rip this one into right. However, Soderstrom is playing deep and he will track it down. I got scary for a second. Now 2 down in the 6th. How about Hunter Renfroe up next? 1-0 pitch. He skies it to center, and we actually get a 0 spot against the Mets. Hallelujah. Speaking of the Mets, still bringing Emilio Pagan into the 7th. The former Cincinnati Red, acquired back in April, will step into the mound with a nice cushion here. He starts off against Robbie Martin, and he will draw a walk. Nice eye on the high and outside splitter. I'm going to bring up Tyler Soderstrom up next. He's homered once already today. You can see the numbers on what's been an all-star season for him. He's currently facing a 1-2 count, and he will look at strike 3. Low splitter called for it. That'll be the first out. I'll bring up Ryan Noda 0 for 2 on the day with a fly out and a ground out here. You guys are on first. Full count pitch to Noda, and he will look at strike 3. Cutter right over the middle. I don't know what he was waiting for. That's the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Brent Rooker, who's also 0 for 2 on the day. He's got an 0-2 pitch, and he will look at strike 3. I thought that was way outside, but I'm not an umpire. So Pagan will strike out the side. Mason Miller will then come in relief for the Athletics here in the top of the 8th with 1 down. He has Alvarez, and he will rip this one to center. For the second time today, Alvarez will hit it out of the park. As Rooker was way late to the party on that jumped attempt. Second home run of the day for Francisco Alvarez. 20th total of the season. Miller continues to struggle in the month of July, and we continue to give up the long home run. It's now 10-1 in favor of New York. That will do it for Miller as well. Lucas Erceg will then be called in relief, trying to get the final outs of this frame. Another guy who started off really hot, but has had a horrible month of July. His first batter will be Mauricio, and he will draw a walk. Doesn't go around. I thought it was strike 3 anyway. They'll bring up Brandon Belt up next, who will rip this one into the gap. And I think the runners were going because Mauricio was already rounding third. That's going to be an RBI double for Belts, and that really is the mercy rule. 11-1, a 10-run lead for the Mets. So we'll definitely speed this one up. It's basically all but over. Later in the inning, though, 3-0 pitch. McNeil will single into center. He gets the green light because why not? 2 more for the Mets. 13-1 now in favor of New York. Urseg sucking. We go bottom 8 as he finally gets out of the inning. As with 1 on, 1 away, Soderstrom will hit this one off of the wall. So leave it to Soderstrom to drive in at both runs already of the day as he slides in. Geloff is now 13-2. Then bring up the next batter, Ryan Noda now. First pitch to him, and he'll rope this one into left center. It's back, and I don't think anybody's going to get to that one. It bounces up over the wall, so it's an RBI double for Noda. 13-3, but then Ronnie Mauricio will get one of those right back. Crushes this one off Tony Santillan onto the hill. It's a solo home run because why not? The New York Mets have done nothing but hit the long ball today. His 10th home run of the season for Ronnie Mauricio. Goes 372, so now it's 14-3. You think the Mets are done? Try the next batter. Brandon Belt with a line drive to right center, and yes, this one's going to clear the wall. Second homer of the day for Brandon Belt. 15-3. Now in favor of the Mets. An absolute slaughter here in Sacramento. Santillan and other pitchers had a very abysmal month of July. Makes it 15-3, and that will finally be the end of the scoring. Mets will win this one by that exact same score. Just probably our most embarrassing loss of the season. Pitching was trash. The offense was not good for the most part. I mean, yes, they got a couple of hits here and there, but, I mean, didn't really do much besides 3 runs. The defense was horrible. We couldn't even throw the ball to second base for a double play. Like, what? Wilson had 2 errors. We saw Davison have 1 as well, and this was an embarrassing loss. We continue to be probably the worst team in the league post All-Star break, and, I mean, it's not even looking close. They just went out there and hit 6 home runs off of us today. Like, what is going on? Blackburn's up to a 4.04 ERA. Thankfully, we bounced back and win Game 2, 5-2. So we do get some runs here, as it looks like Geloff, Martin, Soderstrom, Brown, and Frazier with RBIs. Abel's first start, he goes 6 innings and only gives up 2 earned. And we do win Game 3, so we somehow win this series, as we win the third game at 7-3. Geloff had 3 RBIs. Sears pitched all right, but the bullpen did give up a run. So we've now reached our first day off in the month of August. I think it's a good time to go back down to the minors, considering we've done some trades and whatnot. And we get to take our first look at our draft picks. Take a look at their overalls, potentials. We'll reveal all that in the next episode, so you don't want to miss that one. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of our trade deadline episode. I know a lot went on in this one. We saw debuts, deals, returns, slaughters. Just let me know in the comments section. But thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like, you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.